What if I told you that one animated film nearly bankrupted studio, and yet it became the movie that changed Hollywood? Welcome to the world of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Released in 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was produced by Walt Disney Studios and distributed by RKO. It was the first full-length cel-animated feature ever attempted in Hollywood. At the time, no one believed audiences would sit through a 90-minute cartoon. Even within the studio, people whispered it was Walt's Folly. But Walt saw something no one else could. The animation could feel as alive as any film. By 1934, Walt Disney had made up his mind. He gathered the best artists, trained them in acting, anatomy, and emotion, treating animators like filmmakers. Production would take 3 years and over 2 million individual drawings. But the magic wasn't just in the art. It was also in the engineering. The multiplane camera, for instance. It changed everything. It used several layers of painted glass, the foreground, the middle, and the background, filmed at different distances. Move the camera through them, and suddenly you get depth, parallax, and motion in a flat world. It's what makes that forest chase feel like you're running with Snow White, trees rushing by, light slipping between branches. The team also studied live-action actors for movement, built miniature sets to test lighting, and painted dreamy watercolor backgrounds inspired by European illustrators like Arthur Rockman. And each dwarf had a personality. Dopey's goofiness, Grumpy's stubborn heart, Doc's authority, and audiences could feel it. That level of character animation had never existed before. So, on December 21st, 1937, Walt's Folly premiered. And the premiere lit up the Carthay Circle Theater in Los Angeles. Hollywood's biggest stars, like Clark Gable, Carol Lambert, packed the auditorium. And when Snow White died, grown men cried. That film earned over $8 million worldwide. That's $189 million today, more than any movie before it, and gave Walt Disney the money to build his new Burbank studio. That studio would create Pinocchio, Fantasia, and Bambi. The so-called Folly had become a foundation that made most of our childhoods. Snow White didn't just change animation, it changed pop culture. She became the first Disney princess, setting the template for every heroine that followed. Its songs were instant classics. Hi-ho became a household phrase. Someday My Prince Will Come became a jazz standard, recorded by Miles Davis and Billie Holiday. Around the world, studios took notice. Fleischer Studios made Gulliver's Travels in 1939, and a decade later, Toei Animation in Japan cited Snow White as a key influence on early anime films. Merchandise, storybooks, toys. For the first time, an animated character became a global brand. Even during World War II, Snow White appeared on posters and mural art, a symbol of innocence and hope. When Disneyland opened in 1955, the very first ride inspired by an animated film was Snow White's Adventure. Every castle logo that opens a Disney movie today owes its existence to her. So, why does Snow White still matter, you may ask? Well, because it proved that animation could carry a story with heart, depth, and emotion. It taught filmmakers that a drawing could move you to tears, and it taught audiences that magic could be hand-painted. So every time you see a sunbeam through a forest, a silhouette, a glowing sky, or a dream come true, you're seeing the legacy of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Next time on Musketeer Moment, we'll dive into Pinocchio, the film that tested Walt Disney's limits and nearly broke his dream once again. If you enjoyed the story behind the film that started it all, hit like and subscribe and stay tuned, because there's much more magic behind the curtain to come. Thank you.